Hi, this is Marsha.
And this is Kelly.
We are the 2U's of 2U's Fiber Adventures. Thanks for stopping by.
You'll hear about knitting, spinning, dyeing, crocheting, and just about anything else we can think of as a way to play with string.
We blog and post show notes at 2usfiberadventures.com.
And we invite you to join our 2U's Fiber Adventures group on Ravelry. I'm 100 Projects.
And I am Better in Motion.
We're both on Instagram and Ravelry, and we look forward to meeting you there.
Enjoy the episode. Good morning, Kelly.
Hi,
Oh, wait a minute.
It's not morning.
Good afternoon, Kelly.
Yes. And actually, it could be any time for the people listening. It doesn't.
That's true.
We don't know what time it is for them because they could be listening whenever. But yes, it's the afternoon on the day after Thanksgiving.
And I don't know about you, Kelly, but I'm exhausted. Are you exhausted?
I'm tired. Yeah. I'm tired. I'm adding to my cooking work, though. I did take a hike with one of my nieces this morning, who was she wasn't at our house for Thanksgiving. She was at her sister's for Thanksgiving, and then before she went back to San Jose, she and I took a hike at Fort Ord with the dog. So so that was nice, and I'm out of shape.
How can that be? You've been walking all summer. Weren't you?
I walked all summer, Marsha. It's fall now.
Oh, well.
I stopped. Yeah. I was only walking flat, and I really have fallen off that walking wagon that I was on. I got to about Santa Barbara on my walk across California, up California, and then there were fires and bad air quality and laziness and the semester ramped up, and so anyway, it was a good reminder to me of how much I like to go out there. Although it was pretty crowded today. I mean, not so crowded that you weren't able to be plenty socially distanced, but the parking lot was a mess, and I was driving Robert's big truck, so finding a parking space where I fit easily was like, okay, this is not fun trying to get in here. And then getting out was even harder because by the time I was leaving, there was even more people there. So, but it was fun to see my niece and talk to her a little bit. And shout out, my niece's name is Elena. Apparently she has some friends who, unbeknownst to her, already were listening to the podcast.
Oh, interesting.
So shout out to Elena's friends. She didn't tell me what your names were, but shout out to Elena's friends who listen to the podcast.
So did they know who you were?
No, she was
connected to.
Yeah, she was talking to them about how I did a podcast. They're like, wait, we know that we follow that podcast.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah. So what about you?
Well, I did I cleaned up I had washed all the crystal and the silver. That sounds so posh, doesn't it? But,
yeah. You washed the dishes, Marsha.
I washed the dishes, yes. But I got out, because it was Thanksgiving, I got out my good dishes that I have not used for years. I got those out, and the crystal that I've not used for years. And
nice.
Use that. And I ironed a linen tablecloth and linen napkins. I made it special because it was very small. But I wanted to make it nice because, we haven't really, it's an odd time for us now. People can't gather the way they traditionally gather. And so I wanted to make it nice. Right. So I washed up all the crystal and the silver last night, but then, put the dishes through the dishwasher, but then I had to put all that away, and some of the roasting pan, clean that today. And I have to say too that I decided I wanted to make Thanksgiving really easy on myself, so I was going to order all the food through Whole Foods. And even though I was about 5 days ahead of the deadline to order, they were sold out. So I tried to, and so I had to figure out what I was going to do, because I kind of went into a panic because I was not really prepared to make. I was not feeling like I wanted to make the whole meal.
Well, you've used the Whole Foods for quite a while, right? I mean, the last few years.
we did it a couple years. Last year we went to my cousin's, but a couple years, especially when my mom was not well, I just did it. But and it's good.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it, that you did it. You felt sort of sheepish about it the first year, but that you really thought it was good.
You know what? You can totally lie and just say you made it all. Because it's totally good. It's like it tastes like homemade, but anyway, better than homemade probably. Yeah, just put it. Oops, I dropped my phone. Put it in your own containers, and people think that you made it yourself. And just lie.
Oh, that's
it's all
funny.
it's all smoke and mirrors.
That's funny.
But anyway, I had to make dinner, so I didn't make everything, all of the sides, but it was still a big production. And I did make I decided I was just going to have a turkey breast because there was not very many of us. And in the New York Times, in the food section a couple of weeks ago, they had I never know how you pronounce her name. Is it Ina Garten or Ina Garten or something? But she had an interesting turkey breast that you butterfly and then stuff with onions and garlic and sage. Fennel was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then you put slices of prosciutto inside and roll it up, and it was good and easy, and it bakes pretty quickly too because it's not huge, and so we had that, and then the traditional sides. But it's a lot to make that a Thanksgiving meal on your own.
Yeah, it was funny. We just had the three of us, and I love making Thanksgiving dinner. So I made a turkey, but I usually make two, but I only made one. I mean, I usually make two because our oven is small. So if we're having a big group, we might need
you have to have two small birds, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to have, if you want to have leftovers, right? I usually send some leftovers home with my brother. And so if I want to have enough leftovers, I usually make two turkeys. The last couple of years, the second turkey has been a little bit too much. There's been turkey in the freezer that never got used. But so this year we just Robert bought two turkeys so we can have turkey dinner again before the end.
He bought two turkeys for three people. Did you cook both? No, you just cooked one.
I just cooked one. He bought
and you're
two
saving the one for later.
Yeah, so we can have turkey again at some point.
Okay.
I don't know when that will be, but he did buy a second turkey. But the turkey was only like 11 pounds. He was calling it a big chicken because it wasn't even, it was 11 pounds. My mom bought a 10-pound chicken at Safeway. She was like, I can't believe the chickens were all so big. So it was, it was a relatively small bird. But so I cooked that and, stuffing. And then my favorite thing is cranberry sauce. So we had 4 kinds of cranberry sauce for 3 people. Because of course, right? Of course you do that.
So you had, of course, you always make, is it Mama Stanberg's?
Yeah.
So you make that one with the horseradish, right? And then what else did you make?
So the second one I made was the one that my niece had made before that is vanilla and bourbon. And it's really good. It's sweet. But the flavor is really good with the vanilla. The combination of the vanilla and bourbon makes a really nice flavor. Sometimes I make one with figs and cranberries because we usually have figs still on the tree, but our figs, we had a great crop, but they're all gone. The prime harvest of figs is past by about 3 weeks. So I didn't make one with fig, but I made on the bottom of my recipe for the Mama Stanbergs is one for, it's called garlicky chutney cranberry sauce. And it's actually designed to be made with a cranberry sauce out of the can that you then, you doctor. But I made, I did the same like base with fresh cranberries. And then you put in, it's like vinegar and garlic and ginger and I don't remember what else. Cayenne pepper. And then you put that into the cranberry sauce. Anyway, that one was excellent. I have to say that was good. I don't know if I've made that one before. I can't remember. But that's one of the things I do on Thanksgiving morning is I know I have to make the Mama Stanberg's one because everybody in the family now loves it. They claim they have always loved it, but that is not true.
I know this is not true.
But now it's become a tradition, and so everyone is sure that it's just always been a family favorite. I always make that, and then I kind of get a bee in a bonnet to do something else, and so I, kind of get creative with the cranberry sauce. So this year I decided to make those, and then the fourth one, of course, is the cranberry sauce in a can that you slice, because even though
you have to have that,
even though I like homemade cranberry sauce, I don't know. There's something about those slices of round, those round slices from the can that I really like. So yeah, we had that too. So 4 types of cranberry sauce for 3 people. And I saw you had posted picture of turkey salt and pepper shakers. So I had bought a set of turkey salt and pepper shakers to go with my turkey dishes a couple of years ago. Bought them at Lambtown. And they had like a flea market associate or a
so it matches the pattern that you have.
It's really just a turkey. I mean, but I just thought, this will be kind of cool to have turkeys, that I could put on the table. And so when I did that the first year, my mom said, "Oh, I have your grandmother's turkeys." So she gave me my grandmother's turkeys. So then I don't know why, pandemic purchasing, I think. I have to watch myself because I'm usually pretty good about not like getting that bug to just buy stuff. But I got this bug that I needed to look online to see if I could find any more of those turkeys. So about 2 weeks ago, I went online and I found an Etsy shop that had 2 more sets of those turkey salt and pepper shakers. And of course, they had them on sale, which means I had to buy them. So I bought them. So we also had 4 sets of salt and pepper shakers for 3 people.
Oh my God.
So anyway.
So funny.
Yeah. So I have a flock of turkeys on the table right now.
You're talking about pandemic buying. I did some pandemic buying.
Oh.
I suddenly got this idea that I wanted to force hyacinth.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard to say. Hyacinth bulbs. And I remember that my mom had 2 vases that are designed, they're small at the top, but then they have like a little cup on the top that holds the bulb. And so I found both of them. And so then I went on eBay and started looking. Oh my goodness, the most beautiful vases that you can find out there in amethyst colors and bright green, bright yellow, red, blue, hand blown, just amazing. So I have 7 coming.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so I have this tray that I bought at the thrift store years ago, and I thought I'm just going to put all of those vases on that tray. I think it's going to be beautiful, like in the sunlight, when the sunlight hits them all through all these colors. And so then I was super excited about it. And then, I go, okay, I'm going to go to the nursery and I'm going to buy hyacinth bulbs. They're gone. I can't find them. So I ordered them on Amazon. I ordered hyacinth bulbs. Then I started reading about how you force hyacinth bulbs. I should have started this in the summer. Like you have to put them in a cold place, and a lot of people put them in their refrigerator for about 8 weeks.
6 weeks, yeah.
6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then so if you want to have them for Christmas time, right? Because I thought this would be so cool just to have these on the table with all these hyacinths blooming. I thought it'd be so pretty, but you need to start it in July or August. September, I guess. Anyway, I don't know how it's going to work. The bulbs haven't even arrived yet. I've got, I think, 3 vases have arrived, and then I have 1. I think the rest of them, the other 4, coming from the same. But is that silly? So
well, it's
dumb.
No more silly than my fountain pens.
Yes. So I think my hyacinths will probably be blooming in the spring when hyacinths would normally be blooming outside.
But still, you'll have them inside. They'll be nice and it'll be pretty. And your spring is pretty gray, so it'll be nice to have. Yeah. It'll be nice to have that color in your house, even if it is not the time of year you actually were thinking is going to happen.
But then when I was reading the Wikipedia article about forcing hyacinths, it said that it made some comment about how there are these beautiful vases for holding your hyacinth bulbs, but fair warning, it's addictive.
It said that in the article?
Yes. I'm like, somebody is talking to me. Like,
yes. Oh my gosh. A message from the universe, Marsha.
Yeah. The final thing is it was a great holiday, and we're on to the next holiday that's going to be on our own, right? Christmas will all be apart again.
Yeah.
So.
We're going, well, not on Christmas Day, but we're going to be camping right before Christmas, and I've invited the family to come and have a outdoor celebration. So hopefully we'll be able to see some of the people that we haven't, my nieces, I haven't seen them except, the occasional one to take a walk with. So that'll be nice. And I've only seen my brother on Zoom, but he's coming. So it'll just be nice. We'll be outside. Hopefully it won't rain. But if it does rain, we have those like pop-up tents. They're not really tents. They just have a roof. They don't have any sides. But so we can stay out of the rain, but it's going to be cold.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to just do something different, And so that'll be fun. And I'll be warm. I'm going to make I have an announcement to make.
Yes, I say, are we going to talk knitting now?
Yeah, I think we probably should.
Talk about knitting. Okay.
So when we have our outdoor gathering, I will be really warm because I will have the Orca's Run sweater that I made previously, but I will also have my Sonny Bono jacket to wear.
Woohoo! So exciting.
And actually, to get a little bit back to Thanksgiving, just briefly, I was so excited about having finished the Sonny Bono jacket that I usually have some music going, in the morning when I'm cooking, and one of the things that comes up is often a song, because I have a Sonny and Cher album on my iPod, my old iPod. But anyway, I was so excited about having finished the Sonny Bono jacket that I actually created a Sonny and Cher channel on Pandora. And I listened to that all day. So that was pretty funny.
Well, that's exciting. So, and do you like the way it fits?
Yeah, it fits really well. It's a little itchy in the collar, just because the collar's kind of high. It has kind of an interesting construction because you saved some stitches on the front, like at the not the shoulder side of the front because it was knit in pieces. So not the shoulder side. You like save some stitches on waist yarn and then continue up and bind off the shoulder, and then those stitches that you held on waist yarn, you then knit like 6 inches, and on the other side you knit 6 inches, and then they meet in the back. So then you have this strip that's going around the back of the neck, and then you just sew it all down to the top of the back. And so when you fold it over, it actually makes kind of a high collar. So it's a nice design, I think, for that, because it stands up. The collar kind of stands up. Well, like it folds over, but the folded over collar kind of stands up high. That fold stands up high and has kind of a sharp corner. So it's really nice. I like it. It's going to be really warm. I am going to have to wear something under it that is like, I would not, even though it could be really elegant and you could wear it over like a silver lame shell. It'd be perfect, like black pants, and I do not go anywhere where I would wear that, but especially not this year, but any year, really. But I could imagine wearing it with a pair of really nice black pants and a silver, kind of glittery silver shell, but it would
against
itch.
your skin.
It would itch, yeah. You would have to only wear it for a slight while and then take it off when you get there. Or at least I would. Because it would be itchy. But it's beautiful. I love it. It's made out of a yarn called Curly Locks. It's a tailspun yarn, so the locks of mohair, are coming off the yarn. So when And so the reason it's called a Sonny Bono jacket is because it looks like the vest that, the fur, fake fur vest that Sonny Bono wore. So because it's all furry, it looks kind of like a sheep fleece on my body. But it's not. It's a goat. It's mohair. And it's really shiny because mohair has a lot of luster to it.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to be done with it because I started it in 2018.
Yeah, you started it. You cast on at Stitches where you bought the... Yeah.
And I was sure that it was going to like fly off the needles because size 19 needles and it was going so fast. But then I ran short of yarn and of course you get interested in other projects. But it's finished now. Just waiting to take finished object pictures so I can put it into my Ravelry page.
Great.
Yeah.
Very exciting. This is exciting news. It is.
Yeah. Well, and exciting to me because it means I can start my other projects. I have 2 weaving projects that I have wound warp for. And I also have that crocheted blanket that I'm going to work on. I haven't started yet, but it gives me some leeway for some new things.
Yeah. And what else are you working on? Is that everything? Or?
No, nothing big. I did finish dyeing the yarn for the CVM 3-ply handspun that I was over dyeing. I have finished with that over dyeing. I talked about it, I think, on another episode, but I'm not sure that I knew that I had gotten the color that I wanted. So it's kind of a combination between coral and rust, I guess. It's not as yellow as rust would be, not as yellow leaning, more corally leaning, but I like the color. I'm happy with it. It is what I kind of envision. Maybe brick red or dark terracotta. So that's done. The yarn is done. It's just ready to figure out what sweater I'm going to make and cast on. So that's finished. Well, I don't know if you can call it finished when it's just the yarn. The sweater hasn't even been started. And then, of course, I'm just continuing with the dishcloths that I was working on last time. So I have one on the needles right now that I'm working on. And then I have that pullover, and I'm making good progress there. I have replaced everything I had to rip out. I've got maybe about an inch to go before it's a split hem. So before I decide what to do about the split hem, I've got about an inch. So I didn't want to work on it today while we recorded because I think I might be able to knit more than an inch on it while we talk. So, so yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. Well, I don't have much more to report either. I made good progress on my Holey Comfort cardigan. I'm joking. I just wound the yarn into it.
Okay, well, that's progress. Let's just say that's good progress.
Yes. Anyway, I wound it all into a cake, and I think the last time we recorded, I said I was going to work on it that night. I did not do that. But anyway, it is now wound into a cake, and I hope in the next couple of days. I have to get back to it because, as we talked before, it's like your Sonny Bono. If you stop for any length of time, it's just really hard to get back.
Yeah.
So I need to get back to it, and I will. As we're recording, I'm just working on that second sock using the Tilli Tomas Artisan Sock, and I'm doing the decrease for the toe.
Oh, you're almost done then.
I'm almost done.
We might have another live finish.
Yeah, I better start knitting fast. And then the last time we recorded, I was talking about the tea cozies.
Oh, yeah.
The pineapple, the last time I had finished the body and the leaves, but I discovered I had made a mistake on the center leaves, and I need to rip it out and reknit it, and I have not done that yet. But in the meantime, I did knit and I completed the Devon Violets, which it has kind of like a green garter stitch body. And then it has garter stitch leaves that in a dark forest green. And then you were talking about crocheting. I'm not an expert crocheter, but I had to crochet the little violet flowers. So I had to, and this is an interesting thing too. They gave directions in the book about what a double crochet is and I can't remember the terminology is, but then I also have a book on crochet stitches, and it gave me different stitches.
Because U.S. and British crochet terms are different.
Okay. So the Tea Cozy book is English.
Okay.
So that's okay.
That would be why.
So I like the flowers. Like I could not figure out the flowers at all, and I finally I followed the directions. Which directions I can't remember which ones I followed. They look fine. They look like violets. That's all that matters. But it was very confusing. But now that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're different.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, it's very cute, but I have a lot of ends. I guess I shouldn't say it's done because I still have to weave in all the ends from all of the leaves and the flowers that I've sewn on. And there's 6 leaves and 12 flowers, I think.
Oh, that's
So some work
that's
to do. It's a lot.
That's you have a ways to go.
But I recommend knitting tea cozies. It's super fun, and they're just
you don't have to worry about fit, really.
You don't have to worry too much. But well, you do a little bit. Like this one, I think is just a tad short. I wish I had put in a few, like maybe 4 more rows of garter stitch just to make it a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. You just have to find a shorter teapot.
Yeah, you just buy a different teapot. That's all it is. It's just like you knit hats and you just find somebody that's head it fits, or socks and someone whose feet they fit. But they're just fun, and what I like about tea cozies, I said this before, is they're just so kind of whimsical and lighthearted and humorous, and charming. So anyway,
it's a good time for humorous knitting.
Yeah. But that's it for projects. I have a lot of things that are still in the works that I have not finished, which I
don't worry.
Someday.
Yeah.
Someday. And then I'm thinking of other projects. But yeah, I'm always thinking of other projects, right?
Aren't we all? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in fact, as I was getting ready for, getting ready to record, I was getting the pillows that I prop all around me and on the from the bed in the spare room, and one of the windows, the drapes are still down because we had work done months ago. I would say by now the work that was up here in the bedroom was probably 2 months, maybe more. And so the drapes were down, and while they were down, I was going to shorten them because they came with the house. She had them, kind of pooled on the floor. And I really like them to just stop, not puddle on the floor or whatever they call it. And I've been meaning for years, we've been in this house 15 years now, to shorten them. And so I was thinking, that project, before I put these back up there, I really should get the other 2 sets down and just shorten them all before I put these back up. But you know what? I think I'm just going to put them back up. And that's just going to be one of those projects for another day because...
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
No, they're not. And you know what? I haven't gotten a bee in my bonnet to do it in this long. I think I can just wait. So there's one other project, Marsha, that I wanted to talk about. I meant to talk about it last episode, and I didn't. It is in my project pages because I wanted to put up some pictures. But the carpet that we have in the living room had some damage from Nash, the dog, and I decided to try to repair it. I've been meaning to do it for a long time, and when we had the room, we had moved everything in the room kind of out of one area. So while the furniture was all there, gone from there, I got down and I looked at it. And so this carpet is made. It was interesting. I'm not exactly sure what the technique is called, but essentially, let me look at the pictures in Ravelry so I can describe it more.
Well, it's interesting because it's not like it's a knotted rug.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not a knotted rug. It's definitely woven, but the way that it's woven is in strips. So what I think was done was it was woven on the loom. So the warp is basically thread, fairly thin thread in the warp. And looks like there's about 6 or 8 threads. And so what I think they did was they had 6 or 8 warp threads and then a gap. And then 6 or 8 warp threads and then a gap. And then 6 or 8 warp threads and then a gap. Who knows how wide this thing was, how wide the loom was. It may have been machine woven. That I don't know. I mean, like automatic, like they do with the Pendleton instead of hand woven. I have no idea about that. But it was definitely hand sewn. So once this weaving was done, so you have the wool warp or the wool weft going back and forth through these warp threads that had gaps between them. Then once it was done, what I don't know is, did they cut between the gaps, or did they leave it all as one piece and then kind of snug them up together so that the weft thread that was in a gap kind of accordion pleated and made like little loops? That I don't know. And then they cut off the loops when they made the carpet. So each one of these strips, let's just pretend they were cut apart. So each one of these strips is cut apart and then it's sewn onto a backing. And when it's sewn onto the backing, the fringe, what would be like fringe, right, sticking out when you cut between, I'm trying to make sure I say this in a way that is more visual. So you've cut it, and so you've got these warp threads running vertically, and you've got this wool sticking out on the sides. Like, I don't know, fringe is probably not the right word for it.
Fuzzy bits. Fuzzy bits.
Yeah, you have the edge, right, sticking out on the side. And then when you sew it, you snug it up against the next one so that those bits that were hanging out are now vertical.
Is that the nap?
Yes.
Okay.
And would make the nap of the carpet.
Okay.
So the warp threads are down on the base, sewn onto the base. Those edges then are like poked up because they're snugged up against the next edges. And then snugged up against the next edges. What's possible is that as they sewed it, they weren't cut yet. And so as they sewed it, there weren't edges. It was just a loop between the last thing they sewed down and then this next thing they sewed down. And then the loops were cut. I don't know. But I just took a needle and sewed down these strips that had been torn up by Nash.
They look like, if you could imagine, those fuzzy caterpillars.
Yes.
But really long, fuzzy caterpillars.
Exactly.
And that you're sewing each caterpillar down back into place. Kind of. And the caterpillars are sewn to a backing, is what it looks like.
Yeah. That's exactly. That's a great way to describe it. And because they've been so long with those, up against each other, sticking up from the warp threads, they're curved up from the warp thread. So it's like the warp thread is at the bottom and the wool part, that's the nap of the carpet, is sticking up. But when they originally were woven, that wasn't the case. When they originally woven, they were flat. And that has been like folded up because they've been all smashed together. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
A little bit now.
So I have the other thing. Can you tell, because this is a patterned carpet? So if you're looking at I'm looking at your pictures on Ravelry, and these long caterpillars have different colors in them, blue and gold and yellow and brown and whatever the different colors are, kind of pink in there. Do you think those were woven, those colors, in that order?
Yes.
Or do you... So how did they figure out how long each color section should be, so you put it all together to make a pattern?
I really don't know. I don't know. Artistry.
Yeah. I'll ask, I'll show, because I don't think Mark has seen these pictures. I think I'll show Mark and see because he didn't he get the rug for you?
Yeah.
And I'll see if he
knows. And he knows more details
made.
About it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting. I mean, I knew that it was strips because you could see what Nash had done was dug himself a little place to sleep. And so he had basically torn the strips off the backing. And you can see the threads where all those strips were hand sewn onto the backing. And some of the strips did not survive. So, now that it's repaired, there are some bare spots. Actually, there were some bare spots when we got it. Not many, but there were some. This kind of damage has happened to it before in its life. But it was really interesting to actually take the time to fix it, because when I saw what had happened to it, the damage that had been done, it was like, oh, I could fix that. But I never really analyzed it to see what how the carpet was made. I just didn't do it. And then once I basically got down on the floor, laid down on the floor and analyzed it, I could actually see more how each one of these strips was sewn down. And then once I could look at the warp threads, it's like, okay, I see how this was woven. Because at first it was like, I can't even imagine how this was even woven. But then I started to realize, okay, yeah, it was originally flat. And then those pieces, as they were sewn on, were pushed up against each other. So they're sticking up from the warp threads. But yeah, how the design got created, that's kind of beyond my comprehension. Although if the gaps were small enough, the design would just be a little bit elongated. I'm just thinking, like, on the actual loom, that design was there. It was maybe just elongated, or not lengthwise, but widthwise. It was just wider than the actual carpet was going to be. And then when they squish it all, snug those all up together, and they're sticking up instead of laying flat. And then the fact that there's lots of little pieces of wool, maybe the design comes together more easily than we think. But there's definitely some artistry involved. It's a beautiful carpet. I really like it. And it's so big that it's actually even too big for and you have a big living room, but it's even too big for the living room. You have to fold it over. Yes, because Mark said, oh, it's just a little bit too big. It's about 4 feet too big. So, so it's folded over, which is not good for it. But you know what? This is probably the last place it's going to exist is in our house. There's not many places that have the room for it, or people who would be interested in it, really. Yeah. Honestly. But I was really glad I had a curved needle in one of my little kits of sewing needles. I had a curved needle, upholstery needle or carpet needle. And so I got to use that, and I used some of the linen from my stash as the sewing, the thread I was using to sew with. And I do have a little bit more to do, but the bulk of it, the biggest part of damage is finished. And I just have a little bit more to do to get this project totally finished. But and some of the damage was Nash, and some of it is older damage that I'm just gonna stabilize.
Put a chair on it.
Well,
you can't see it.
The table, yeah. Well, he would go under the table. It's so weird. He was, mostly he just slept on his pillow. But every once in a while when we were gone, he'd go and get in a corner somewhere under something. So weird, and he wasn't really a scared dog. He didn't, it wasn't like he was insecure, but I don't know, sometimes he just had the urge to den, I guess. And then he would dig himself, dig on the carpet and he dug up some of these strips. So
maybe it just gave him something to do. Besides lay on his bed. Like, oh, I have a project. I think I'm going to go pull up some strips today.
Well, the first time I noticed it was I had laid out a bunch of towels to block something, several layers of towels, and then I pinned a shawl over the top of the towels into the carpet. I came home and the towels, luckily not where my knitted thing was, but on the edge, all the towels were all up in a lump. The ones that I had more towel laid out than I needed. And so the extra toweling was all like in a lump. Like, what in the world? And then I realized that Nash had been over there digging them all up so he could lay on them.
He had a project.
Yes. So then when I would block things, I would have to, block him off from it. But even in the dining room, sometimes I come home and the whole corner of the dining room carpet was all like folded back because he had moved it.
Wow.
Okay. Weird dog. So,
Aw, sweet boy.
yeah. So we have a little bit of a remembrance of Nash in these areas of the carpet that have bare spots. So, but it was an interesting, very interesting project, and very interesting to see the construction of this type of carpet.
Yeah, and I'll show it to Mark when I next see him and ask him about it.
Anyway, it would be interesting to hear from him, but it was fun to do a little deconstruction of it. Deconstruction and reconstruction to find out how it worked. So, and then another weaving project, I actually wound 2 warps for dish towels for Christmas. And I'm hoping to get them on the loom during this Thanksgiving break, but I don't know. I have 2 looms empty, so I could put them both on. But maybe sometime this week, I think I'll probably get them each on their looms, one on the table loom and one on the floor loom. And I'm using designs from Gist Yarns. It's another one of the yarn companies that has kits and supplies, and they also have a whole section of patterns, free patterns. And so I'm using 2. I'm using 2 of the patterns from. Well, I use them as inspiration. Let's just say I use them as inspiration. I'm not sure I'm actually using them exactly the way they're written. One of them is white with very, very tiny red stripes on each edge, one red stripe on each edge, and then it's going to have red in the weft. And then the other one, when I was putting it on the loom, it looks like ribbon candy. It reminds me of that Christmas candy, that Christmas ribbon candy, because it has wide stripe of green, wide stripe of red, wide stripe of white. So, and I don't usually use white in the dish towels that I make, but I have a lot of white coned yarn. So I'm not sure why I have a lot of white coned yarn, if I bought it or if it came to me as spirit yarn. I can't remember.
Okay, and then I gave you some cone yarn that was red and green. Is that the red and green you're using?
No, I haven't opened those yet. Okay. No, this is another batch of red and green that I bought or got. I don't know if I bought them or not, or if they came to me as spirit yarn, but they're big cones of cotton.
Yeah. So
the ones you gave me are linen.
Oh, they're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is all. I think this is all. Maybe one of the greens is like a Cotolin blend yarn. But anyway, Christmas dish towels, and I do not need any more Christmas dish towels. If I don't know if people remember the pictures I posted last year as I was putting Christmas away. I think I have 2 dozen Christmas dish towels. I'm probably having to get rid of some of my Christmas dish towels. Some of them probably have stains and, are ready to go. But yeah, I already have 24, so I don't need new ones. But I don't know, there's something about this time of year that I get inspired to weave Christmas dish towels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and with the white in it, I always tell Robert and Aunt Betty, if you're only drying clean hands and clean dishes, the dish towels don't get dirty. Right?
Right. But
they do. So white would not be probably good. Well, I might keep a couple. I'm not kidding anyone. I might keep a couple of these. So anyway, but that's my weaving so far.
Well, I have some of your hand woven dish towels. I think there was some that you had given my mom.
Oh yeah.
And there's some yellow ones and some dark blue ones, and I had some that you had given me. And I use them because you told me I have to use them. You
have to use them, yes.
Yeah, so I use them, but like when Kim was here, and also when my friend Gary was here briefly in between his apartments, I said, you can use them, but they're not for cleaning.
Right. A dish towel is not for wiping up your spilled coffee.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I said these are they're to be used, but they're hand woven from Kelly, and so now they're all paranoid about them. But it's like, no, you can use them. You just can't you can't wipe up beet juice and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, if you spill, like the dishcloths that I'm knitting now, if you spill, you grab a dishcloth and you wash it up. You don't grab a dish towel and dry it up.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, sure, maybe it's more convenient to just grab it, but that's not my habit, right? And so I always am like, you guys, if you just only dry clean hands and clean dishes,
everything will be fine.
So anyway, I have some dish towels on my horizon here. So
Okay, good. You wanted to, what about pens?
oh, I got ink.
Oh.
My last time we talked, I think I had ordered ink and converters because I had bought a new pen, which now it has ink in it. I love it. I did go to my office at school and I got the old pen that inspired the purchase of the new pen, which isn't new. It's new to me. They're both from 1980s Schaefer Targas. So anyway, I talked about them last time, I think.
Yeah.
So I've been using the one I just bought. I've been using the new one that Robert bought me last Christmas or the Christmas before. Yeah, it's been fun. I have blue and black ink that I'm using now. I bought a green ink, but I haven't put green ink in any of my pens.
So if you have like black in there and then you want to switch to green,
You're supposed to clean them.
Okay.
Now, before I knew any of this, I would just change the cartridge, and for a while it would be black, and then it would be black that had a little green tint, and then for a while it would be a little darker green, and then finally it would get to the green that was the green of the cartridge. And so, you could do that. I did that for years with the pen that I had from college. But you can also wash out the converter, wash the nib, let it dry, and then put the new ink in, which is what I'm going to do with the next time I fill one of the pens, I'm going to fill it with the green.
Okay.
So I'll do that. I'll wash it out. And then, there's all this kind of equipment you can use to wash it. I just run it under the sink, under the faucet, but you can get like those nasal aspirators that they use for babies.
Oh, right.
And you can use those to kind of flush water through them a little bit more efficiently.
Oh, okay.
The one that I went and got from school because it was all dried up, I just soaked it in a cup of water for a while and loosens everything up, and then I just washed it under the sink. So it's got most of the ink out of it. The plastic part that screws on, it has a piece of it is broken off. So I'm going to investigate either getting a new nib for it, or I don't know if that can be repaired or not, and I'm going to investigate that. So yeah, kind of a fun rabbit hole.
Yes. Yeah.
But I have not bought anything more because too much pandemic buying. I need to focus on other things for a while. Christmas is coming, not Christmas presents for me.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I've thought about it, but I've done nothing about Christmas shopping.
Yeah.
Kelly, the last thing I'm just going to mention, because I think we're getting ready to finish, but I just wanted to mention the bags.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of buying.
Yeah, thinking of buying. I didn't even realize what I was saying.
In case any of you would like to do a little pandemic buying.
We have the place for you to go.
That's right.
So, Three Green Sisters, their Etsy shop. Just a reminder that they continued the 15% off discount and free shipping in the U.S. Through December 31st.
Yeah.
So
plenty of time.
Plenty of time for Christmas shopping. And they have project bags. They have like overnight bags, purses. They have some non-knitting related,
bags for your loom. If you have like
bags for your loom,
rigid heddle loom.
I think, didn't they have also bags for like your yoga mat, that kind of thing? So they have all different kinds of products on there, and so but the code is just to get the 15% discount is to use all caps, and it's spelled out too, TWOEWES. So just a reminder of that for pandemic shopping.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Yeah, and thank you to the Three Green Sisters for working with us on that. That was really nice of them. We're definitely going to have to work with them a little another time on some kind of project because that was fun.
Yeah. And I should say, too, there is a link in the show notes to their Etsy shop.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, Kelly, do we have anything else to talk about?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. It's now 4:30, and Enzo is sitting here. He's been sleeping the whole time we've been recording, but he's now here pawing me because it's getting close to that time.
Yes.
Dinner time. And I'm going to now go pour myself a drink and get into bed because I am really tired.
Recover from your Thanksgiving.
Recover from my Thanksgiving. So I hope everybody else that celebrates Thanksgiving had a fabulous Thanksgiving, and that they too poured themselves a cocktail and are in bed. Of course, by the time that they hear this, it'll be a few days after Thanksgiving. Hopefully they will have recovered. But
yes.
Anyway.
And you too.
Yeah, hopefully I'll recover.
Marsha won't still be in bed.
Yeah, really. I will get up tomorrow.
Back to normal.
Anyway,
yeah.
Back to normal, yeah. So, okay, we'll say goodbye then.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Thank you so much for listening. To subscribe to the podcast, visit 2usfiberadventures.com.
Join us on our adventures on Ravelry and Instagram. I am Better in Motion, and Kelly is 100 Projects.
Until next time, we're the 2 U's
doing our part for World Fleece.